Okay, so guys, it feels unreal, but I've just bought probably the cheapest working and driving, well, partially driving, RS5 in the UK. Okay then, so here is the RS5 that I've just bought unseen from an auction. It's another windy day today, but I'm absolutely ecstatic about this car because I've wanted one of these since I can remember and for years. Anyway, I've called this car Gina, as you can probably tell by the plate, like Regina, RS, Regina, there you go, it suits it. It's got a full service history, 4 owners, and it is kind of running and driving. Anyway, we'll get onto that in a bit, but quickly, quick look around it and I'll show you all the things on it. This car, when it was new, it was about £70,000, £60,000. It's got £10,000 worth of extras on it, all that sort of thing. Lovely pan roof on the top of it. I think this silver splitter here, that's an aftermarket extra. Lovely front bumper on it, the RS5 makes it stand out. Down here as well, we've got optional extra 20-inch wheels on it. They're a bit curved, as you can tell by that, but it's got some nice big old brakes on it. And down here, it's a pretty clean car at the side. The rear tyres on it, they're really perished. As you can see them, they're pretty much shot. Went to pick it up, that tyre was flat, so I had to blow it up and wing driving it back anyway. But I'm going to sort the wheels out, refurb them, and also get some tyres on it, but they're the least of our worries right now. We've got these lovely max power themed sort of rear tail lights on it. I'm not quite sure what they're about. I might change them out anyway. Got a Maxton rear diffuser on it, and great feature about these is on the RS, this rear spoiler, when you hit 75, it will come up. Not that you want anyone to know how quick you go on one of these. Button in the car for it as well, which we'll go for anyway. Pops the rear spoiler up, pretty cool feature. As well as that, down here, this silver thing at the bottom, I think that's another optional extra. You can tell it's had a bit of a shunt on it. I'll press that back in place. Paint here is pretty flat and it looks like someone's tried to paint it because it's had a very light bump here, but that's another thing that we need to sort out. Not really a major worry right now, because the main things, of course, with cars like this is that they drive and that they run okay. Anyway, let's hop on the inside and I'll show you everything on there. Right then, so on the inside, this car is a really high spec from factory. Got all the kit on it, pan roof, Bang & Olufsen speakers, got all this nav stuff here for like the MMI, heated seat, pretty much every extra you can get, this car's got. It's got the memory seats. You know, I was on about that button for basically the rear spoiler, that's here, we'll tap that. Stop button, and it does actually have the AMI. AMI is basically connecting your phone via Bluetooth. Some really good paperwork with it as well, more than actually stated, so I can't complain about that. Okay then, so we'll quickly look at the paperwork. I'll show you around the engine bay. So then in here as well, this is all of the paperwork, you know, that we've got for the car. A lot of it wasn't actually declared. It's got a service book as well, that's fully stamped up. It's on about 106,000 miles, but this is the best thing. So usually I think on these cars there's like gearbox issues with the DSG gearbox, so it's had basically the mechatronics unit replaced. As you can see here, that's been done at a cost of nearly £6,000. Big old bill that is, so that's one less worry on the car. So it's got some good paperwork with it. But here's where it starts to get interesting. So it may have that paperwork for the gearbox, but basically this car has actually got a gearbox issue which we need to look into, and we might even need to rebuild the whole gearbox, unfortunately. Pretty painful, I know. That was one of the things that wasn't actually declared on the report for this car, but you know, when you've driven the car 5-10 minutes down the road and you've driven it away, it's a bit too late to complain about things like that. Still, it's a really good price on one of these, and I've kind of had an itch one of these for years. But basically what's happening is on the gearbox, every now and then you're driving along, just completely randomly out of the blue, it'll basically say look, something like gearbox fault, you can continue driving. So that's a bit of concern, but it doesn't seem to affect the car when you're driving it. But I've had it probably a couple of times on the way back. In simple terms, basically the gearbox, I think it's kind of forgetting where it is every once in a while, and that causes some sort of issue within the gearbox where it can't properly communicate within itself. Besides that, the engine itself is actually fine. The only thing I'd change about it, of course, is I'm not really a fan of the white interior, but let me know down below what you think, whether you'd keep the white interior or whether you'd rather have it black. Personally, I'd rather have a black interior in here, but you know, it doesn't really bother me because carpet's still black, the rest of it's still, you know, black in here anyway. Let me quickly show you under the bonnet, and then we can get back to mine and properly try and diagnose what's actually going on with this car, and if we need to take the whole gearbox out and rebuild it, or if not. But unfortunately, I'm thinking it's going to be that way right now. Okay, so another thing that I've noticed then is basically the front grille is usually chrome on these, and someone seems to have plastic dipped it black for whatever reason. As you can probably tell by that down there. Poor old Gina. Anyway, that's the least of our concerns right now. Under here then we have the mighty 4.2 litre V8, and it produces about 444 brake horsepower. That's quite a bit, to be honest. It's a 2-ton car, but it does go a long way. You can definitely feel it, and honestly, when this engine picks up, like you'll see in a minute, it sounds absolutely beautiful. I'm a BMW man myself, but I've got a lot of love for these engines because they sound absolutely lovely, and I love a V8. This engine, I'm pretty sure, is used in other things like the Audi RS5, and I think it's derived from a Lamborghini. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know, leave a comment down below if I'm wrong about it or if I'm completely right. I don't know. I'm not too clued up on these. You might know more than me about these. It is a 2-ton car, bear in mind, of course, but it still does go a long way and it pulls really well, especially being 4-wheel drive with the Quattro and a 7-speed gearbox. Of course, I'm not going to be absolutely hammering it when the gearbox is like this, but even then, when you give it a little bit of juice, it really comes out. Anyway, you're probably getting bored of me talking about this car. You probably actually want to see it and hear it now. I only paid £8,250 for this car, which I think is an absolute steal. Anyway then, so you're probably bored about hearing me nattering on about this car and how great it is, and you probably want to hear it and actually see it driving. So let's get on with that. One thing I absolutely love about this car, so as soon as we put this in, it has got the loudest cold start I think I've heard. It sounds absolutely beautiful, doesn't it? Oh look, there we go. Gearbox malfunction, you can continue driving, but for how long? Listen to that though. Long live the V8. Anyway, let's go on a drive. As you can tell, this car is not for the faint-hearted. I don't like that. But there it goes. As you can tell there was a little bit of a gearbox jitter. What is weird though is a few years ago I did have a A5 like TDI Quattro though. It was a 3-litre diesel and I didn't really get along with it too well, to be honest, so I thought, oh, I probably won't ever have one of them, because I just didn't like the steering feel and all of it, but it didn't have all this MMI stuff in here where you can change it. But driving this, I really like it, to be honest. I'm more into my BMWs, but this is a really nice car to drive. It feels very heavy, but in a good way. It feels so like planted to the road. So basically as well, it's 7-speed. There we go, gearbox again. So you probably heard that beep then, that's the gearbox saying, oh, I'm going wrong again. Anyway, this is like a 7-speed auto transmission. It's like a Steptronic, so it's pretty much DSG gearbox, I think it is. So down here it's got basically drive, and then if you shift it over, it's got up and down here as well. It's got the paddles, which is quite nice, and they move with the steering wheel, which is kind of what you want. It's pretty responsive gearbox as well. So you also got 3 different modes, and you can set that up on the MMI. So it's got comfort, auto, individual and dynamic. So individual is where you set it where you want it to be. Comfort mode's kind of like laid back, chill out, relax. Auto is kind of like in between. Dynamic's kind of like, let's say, RS mode. But yeah, it drives well. I've just left it in auto, of course, because I've got these issues with it. Of course, that's something that we're going to rectify. It's quite responsive, so like, if I was to kick down, it would just go, which I'll show you now. There you go. And it sounds absolutely lovely as it's doing it. I love that little burble it makes. I think that's like DSG gearbox though, isn't it? But it sounds nice. It's like DSG fart, whatever they call it. So even though it's got its little issue, like I say, with the gearbox, it still drives pretty well, half the time at least anyway. But every now and then that gearbox will flag up malfunction, you can continue driving, whatever. So we definitely need to fix it because it's completely random. But you know, it's still driving at the speed now, so it could be a lot worse. I feel really, you know, lucky and happy to have actually had the chance to have had one of these now, and I enjoy it a lot more than I thought I would. But to be fair, it is an RS, so it should be a pretty good car. This thing is just relentless though. Like, when it wants to go, it will just go and go and go, and it just goes through the gears, it flies, and before you know it, you're gone, and you're doing God knows what speed. Of course, when the gearbox isn't having one of its episodes. So let's go for it right now. That noise is just uncomparable. What a car. Despite how good it sounds and how much it makes you smile when you drive this thing, we've still got a gearbox issue that we actually need to fix on it. At the end of the day though, regardless, I'm still certain, with that in mind, it's got to be the cheapest RS5 in the country. Yes, it's got cream leather seats in it, which aren't exactly my cup of tea. It's got max power rear lights on it. It's a bit rough around the edges, but I never bought it to be the perfect car. I bought it to make it a better car than it already is. We need to start off by trying to figure out what's gone wrong inside of the gearbox and if it's going to be a simple fix or not. I still feel like I've got myself an absolute bargain here for £8,250 for a car with this amount of paperwork and history, with this spec on it. I think we've paid a really good price. But maybe I'm wrong here. Of course, if you think I've paid too much, leave a comment down below. If you think I've, got myself a bargain, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. But for now, we're just going to have to take it back and take it somewhat easy. I scanned the car and I had some intermittent issues with the gearbox, so all of a sudden out of nowhere it would say gearbox malfunction, you can continue driving. So I looked into it and I found out that it was actually a speed sensor inside of the gearbox, and the only way you can actually get around that in theory is basically taking the gearbox off, stripping the whole thing down, and it's a sensor just in the middle of it. That's not exactly something that I want to be doing, and also the time and the hassle of stripping it down. So then I thought to myself, what I'm going to try is I'm going to try giving this gearbox a service, recalibrate the gearbox, and maybe with a little bit of luck we can get away with it. Because one thing that I noticed is I only actually started throwing the fault code when this car started getting hot and up to temperature. So I thought it might be related to the oil, or it wasn't properly calibrated at the right oil temperature. So I thought I'd give this a go. Right then, so I bought a service kit which cost me pretty much about £150. As you can see, it's basically just, it says DCT on it, but it's not actually DCT. It's like dual clutch, which is basically what DSG is anyway. So it's the right oil for the gearbox. I've even thought maybe they didn't use the correct oil. Right, anyway, as you can see here, I've got about 7 litres of oil, and I've got a Febby filter. It doesn't really matter, but I think it's good to change the filter inside the gearbox, of course. So as you can see, I've jacked the car up, I've got it off the ground, and that's the hard work out of the way. All we need to do now then is go into the car and set with the oil. We need to do this in about 3 different stages. So first of all, we're going to start off by starting the car up, letting it run for about 20 seconds, and then recheck the level of the oil, do it back up, start the car up again, and basically go through all of the gears for about 10 seconds in each gear, turn it off again, check the oil again, and then after that we can properly let the car warm up to temperature, and we need to do it between about 30 and 50 degrees. After we've done that, the gearbox should be at the correct level. Stage 1 then. Okay then, so now same again, what we're going to do is turn the car back on, go through all of the gears, hold it in park for 10 seconds, reverse 10 seconds, neutral 10 seconds, drive 10 seconds, put it back into park, check it again, and then we'll let the car warm up. I'm not going to waste your time with that anyway, so I've quickly checked it, topped up a little bit, and we're good to go. Start the car up. What I'm going to do now then, go through the gears, and then I'll go back into park after. Okay then, so I've checked it again, all okay. Now all we need to do is, of course, wait for this gearbox to warm up. Okay then, so we're pretty much there. I'm going to turn the car off now and check it. Hopefully be able to take it out, test it, and see if it makes any difference at all. Fingers crossed it should. I don't really know, to be honest. Anyway, we'll see how we get on. Right, so I'm going to go through all of these now, basically, reset everything, and hopefully, with a little bit of luck, it should solve the issue. If not, it's not the end of the world, but we've given it a go. Time for the nerve-wracking moment we've all been waiting for. Has it actually solved the problem? Let's take it out and have a look. So then, now it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for, and to be honest with you, I'm absolutely terrified, because I'm not exactly sure if this is going to solve the issue at all, but I'm going to give it a go because I don't exactly feel like rebuilding a gearbox. To be fair though, it does feel smoother. It's not come back on yet, thankfully, but can't speak too soon, can we? But yeah, just in case it all goes wrong, I've got my scanner on me. Let's see. But I'll be absolutely amazed if it has solved the issue. I mean, in some ways, I really do doubt it's fixed it, but you've got to give it a go, I guess, haven't you? At least at this point in time, the car's at 90 degrees. Well, it has been for a while, but that's usually when it starts to flag up with a fault. So I'm hoping, all I've got to do is really drive it and just see if it comes back. I'm just waiting in the back of my head now for that beep gearbox light to come back on. I'm hoping it doesn't though, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm so on edge, I really am. Like, because it's just one of those cars you want to go out in, you want to enjoy it, and then when you got something like that happens, it puts the car in like a different perspective. Like, you don't feel anywhere near as confident, of course, when a gearbox has got issues, and it's always playing in your head, isn't it? I'm gonna go for, like I say, 5-10 minutes, give it some lick, see if it's there. If it isn't, happy days. If it is, oh dear, on to the next thing. And it's a big old rebuild, that is, big old rebuild. So, of course, to do that, yeah, whole gearbox out of the car to do that, strip it all down and take it into basically like 2 different halves, just so I can get to that sensor. And that sensor itself, I think they're called TPS, and that sensor is about £300 or £400, and there's another bit of loom that you're meant to replace at the same time. And to be honest, I'll do it at the same time if I have to anyway, because if I strip the whole thing down I may as well. So that's like £400, and then of course oil again. You know, I'll leave the filter in there, that's really no drama to me. So far we're holding up alright, thankfully, but I don't know if it's just a fluke or it's actually fixed. I'll only know after, like, you know, while driving it, won't I? It's a bit of a design flaw really, if you ask me. I mean, it's quite a clever gearbox, I'll give it that, but I mean, for something like that, the only way to get to it is taking the whole gearbox apart. It's just, oh, a nightmare is all I can say. Absolute pain. Oh yeah, look, there we go, it's back. So unfortunately then, it does look like I'm going to have to take this whole gearbox out, strip it all down to get to that one little sensor. So all of that, in a sense, was for nothing. But, you've got to give it a go, haven't you? On the plus side though, it does feel smoother, but it should do with an oil change, shouldn't it? Let's be real here. At this point, as you can imagine, I was devastated because I'd come to the realisation that this whole gearbox was going to need to come out of the car and be completely broken down into 2. I didn't actually film any of this while I was doing it. I've only got a couple of photos of the gearbox when it was out the car on one of the old speed sensor. This was something that I imagined that I was going to be doing on the driveway on my back, but I mentioned this to my uncle, who was kind enough to invite me down to his garage where he let me do this on one of his ramps. So much easier for me, as you can imagine, than actually doing it on my back. So I've got to say thank you very much to my Uncle Paul. After this, the gearbox was absolutely perfect. After that, I moved on to giving the wheels a light refurb, so all I did was sanded the lips back and polished them up. Now that the wheels look good, all we needed to sort out was the bodywork. I spent a good couple of days properly detailing this car and making the paintwork look spotless. So what I did, I gave it a 2-stage polish, so I cut the paint back, polished it, and then I went over the whole car in ceramic coat. As you can see now, this car looks worlds apart to when we got it. Not long after that, I actually ended up putting the car up for sale. Okay guys, so it's been a few months since I've actually bought the RS5, and I haven't really had much of a chance to do much about it, and I haven't really been filming, let's say, everything that I've been doing. But in the end, after trying to service it, of course, the gearbox itself, it wasn't perfect. So what I've had to do is I've had to completely strip the gearbox out of the car, completely rebuild the gearbox in the car, which thankfully I've done. But in the end, basically, it's, you know, an expensive lesson to learn in these things. I probably won't make as much as I thought I would of this car, but I've really enjoyed actually having an RS5, and the car's fine now, basically. I've been driving it around, no more problems. You know what they say though, you win some, you lose some. The RS5, it's not been a big winner, it's not been a total loss. I'll probably make a tiny bit of money on it, which isn't awful, but you know, to be honest, I've really enjoyed having an RS5, and it's been a bit of a learning curve and experience, but that's what life's all about anyway. So it is what it is. So I'm sitting in the car now just before it goes, and of course, if you need any repairs in your cars, personally, I highly recommend Shine Motor Services. I'll leave a link in the description down below. So basically, any issues with any car, bring it down here. I'm sure that you'll be covered. This is it then from the RS5. Got to wave goodbye to it now. I've loved having this thing, and the new owner, he's going to be over the moon with it, and I'm really happy for him because he's a lovely guy. I spoke to him a couple of times. He's viewed the car, wants to go ahead with it, so happy days for him anyway. I'm kind of going to miss it, but you got to do what you got to do sometimes. Anyway, I've got some really interesting stuff coming up in my opinion. I'm trying to stay on top of the videos that I'm doing because I kind of enjoy doing them anyway. But I want to kind of, I've got another car basically coming up, and it's going to be a bit more of a project than one that I'm going to be kind of like buying and selling on anyway. And the money I got it for is, in my opinion, like just an absolute bargain, and I've got a lot in mind. So the car in question that I've bought, if you like this video, a little bit of a hint will be you'll probably like this car as well. Depends on your taste, so. But for me, it's a nice all-around sort of car. Well, it's not an all-around sort of car because you can never really have everything in one car. I think that's what makes them so unique, is that every single car is different no matter what. But of course, tap down below, hit subscribe, and I really want to make a project out of this car. I kind of do more like individual videos on each car instead of trying to pile everything into one, because I get so sidetracked with like all the time and everything. But I think doing little bit by little bit, it'll be kind of like a project for us to all do anyway, and I hope you enjoy it. So of course, I'll see you then, and thank you again for watching.